Hi, people. Welcome to this week's episode of Conversations with Niss. I'm Eunice Peterson, your host. This week, I'm excited to come to you with something that is really important. It's almost a piggyback of on what I spoke about at the beginning of the year. Now, for me, this is really crucial because I need you to understand that for you to really succeed this year, and in fact, every other year moving forward, you need to have proper structures, systems, and life policies. You got that right. So, in the episodes at the beginning of the year, I did mention that structure, systems, and life policies essentially are three core things that you would need in order to bring alignment, clarity, and essentially set yourself up for the kind of success that you want moving forward. So, in this episode, I want to arm you with practical tools that you can use in order to get to this point that I am referring to. Okay? I have two books. I need you to take this seriously, take it like a project, and go through these books, work through them, and use them as tools to help you set up your structures, your systems, and your life policies. We will start from Anthony O'Neill's Take Your Seat at the Table. There we go. Take Your Seat at the Table by Anthony O'Neill. I like this book for many reasons. It is a very practical approach. It is replete with a lot of life examples by the author of what it means to, like the title says, take a seat at your table. Exactly. Now, he uses the analogy of a dining table or a conference table. I would much rather prefer a conference table. So think of it as you have got this large room with a massive table, beautiful chairs all around it. However, even though you own the space and the table and all that it's made up of, you don't have a seat there. Instead, the table is occupied by other people. Bankers, creditors, politicians, teachers, your parents, your spouse, your kids, friends, associates, everybody except you. Now that's problematic because these people are not just sat at the table. They are making plans for your life. How can other people be making plans for your life? The sad thing is you don't have a say. You're trying to catch their attention, but nobody is listening. Why? Everyone else has a say in your life except you. Now, that is the analogy that the author uses in this book. And he goes on to explain why it is necessary to take a seat at your table. I mean, think about it. If you are the board chair, where do you sit? At the head of the table. Exactly. You are the board chair of your life. Everyone else who gets to sit at that table is simply a board member. Because it is your life, you get to choose who sat at the table and who's not, what they get to do and what they do not get to do. Now, I like the analogy of a table that the author uses because it's very simple and easy to understand. Think of it, like I said, in terms of a boardroom or even more practically, a dining table. You are meant to sit at the head and nowhere else. You are meant to sit at the head of your table, take charge of your life, and stop letting people do it on your behalf. Your life is not someone else's responsibility. I think that is something a lot of people get wrong. I mean, a lot of people have good intentions for us. Our parents love us and want the best for us. best friends have our best interests at heart, or at least I would want to believe they do. All these different people in our lives are not necessarily out to get us. But what we need to understand is nobody's going to live your life on your behalf, or at least nobody is meant to live your life on your behalf. Taking a seat at your table is acknowledging that you are the ultimate person responsible for the outcomes of your life. This book is going to help you get a lot more clarity on the areas of your life you're supposed to be focusing on. That will be an anchor for the rest of your life. All right. So he goes through your spiritual life, your mental and physical well-being, your finances, your relationships. And these things are important. These areas, if you would realize, are the anchor or the foundation on which we build and live the rest of our lives. We need relationships to thrive. No man is an island. You do not want to be an island. You do not want to be a lonely person with no family, no friends, no associates. No, that is a miserable life, in my opinion. So building relationships is core. Building your finances is essential. You don't want to go through life as a broke person. No, it's frustrating. You want to make sure that you have got things right in the area of your health, because at the end of the day, if your body is not in good shape, if your mind is not in the right place, there's very little you can do. If you die today, that's the end of life. All right. So there's that emphasis on taking care of yourself, nurturing yourself, and ensuring that you're always in the right place physically and mentally. And then, of course, your spirituality is important. I'm a Christian, and so my relationship with God is a core part of my life. Building and having a relationship with God directs a lot of things in my life. And so these are some of the areas that the author speaks on, and they are all very essential. You need to get these things right. You need to get the foundations right so that you are confident getting into any area of life, that the basics are sorted. Let's conquer the world. All right. This year, you need these things in place. This year, you simply need to get it right. Yes, you can't go through this year without a plan, but I also think it is detrimental to set grand goals and detailed plans when you have not gotten key areas of your life in place. And that is what this book will help you to do. Taking the reins of your own life and preventing people from having the ultimate say when it comes to your life. Is saying, I'm in charge and I'm going to allow parents, spouse, children, your financial advisors, medical experts, and any other person that is relevant in this season. You're going to give them a seat at your table and you're going to direct how they impact your life moving forward. You are going to direct the contributions that they can make and how they can make them. Some relationships are easier than others because, for instance, with your financial advisor, medical personnel and all that is more on a professional level. When it comes to relationships with close ties of love and affection, like relationships with our parents, it can get a bit dicey, but that is why you are the one at the helm of affairs of your life. As an adult, you should be able to sit, have meaningful, honest conversations with your parents and set proper boundaries to ensure that you are actually the person in charge and not them. That they are not micromanaging your life in different ways. That even though they acknowledge that you are an adult, they still try to make certain inputs where they are not meant to be making inputs. All right. If your parents are still trying to impose certain things on you, force you to make certain decisions, I think it's time to sit down, draw the line, set up your boundaries, and enforce them. And taking a seat at your table is one of the places you can start from. So I highly recommend this one for you. It's on Amazon. You can get it in soft copy. You can also get it in hard copy. So whichever works best for you, go for it and take the time to go through it. It's more detailed than what I'm saying. Obviously, I can't give you all the gist in the book, but I'm just telling you that this is a really good resource, especially if you are in that place where you're thinking, okay, what can I do, to get back the control of my life? And it gives you just practical advice on how to do that. Okay, so that's book number 1. So book number 2 is a favorite of mine when it comes to taking stock of life and making deliberate plans, solid plans for life in general. It is Living by Strategy by Professor Emeritus Stephen Adei. He is a well-celebrated Ghanaian professor emeritus. He's done so much work in education, in governance, works with the UN and all that. He is like your grandfather that you would go to and get advice from. That is this for me. And it is replete with strategy. Like the title says, it literally gives you the roadmap to create a life strategy. Okay, so this comes highly, highly recommended. I first laid hands on this 2 years ago, no, 2023, almost 3 years ago, and it has been such a useful resource for me personally in getting clarity on a lot of things, especially it helps with creating your life policies. Remember the life policies that I spoke about at the beginning of the year. I feel like this book gives you a very practical roadmap to start creating those life policies and thinking, what are the basis of these policies that I am setting for myself? This is your book, okay? So all the folks in Ghana, you can get this in any bookshop. It's really accessible in any bookshop. I am not too sure that it's on Amazon, but if you can get your hands on it, brilliant book. So this literally walks you through the mind frame of viewing and managing your life like an organization. So you are now the CEO of your life. You have taken control. You are at the helm of affairs in your life. You are the head of your table. Now, what are the organizational policies we are working with again? Yeah, that's what this book helps you with. So he literally takes you through creating a mission statement for your life. A vision statement speaks extensively on the power of vision, walks you through creating SMART goals. And for those who don't know what SMART goals are, they are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. He also has this concept of a wheel of life, which is very, very interesting. Then he speaks on strategic, personal, and operational plans. What I love about this book is that it breaks down mission and vision in a slightly different way than we would see, for instance, in organizational settings. So when it comes to vision, he breaks it into 2, and he comes up with this concept of the vision of being and the vision of accomplishment, so that when you are writing your vision statement, it's not so vague or too focused on one aspect of your life. He breaks it into vision of being and vision of achievement. Vision of being making reference to your vision of the kind of person you want to become, not necessarily the things you would want to achieve, because that's what he discusses in the second part, which is the vision of achievement. It makes it very easy for you to write out and make a clear distinction between who you want to become as a person and what you want to achieve. And I think it's very important because a lot of times, even with organizations, when they create mission and vision statements. The vision statement is very much an achievement target, right? But for the purposes of us living, breathing, and walking through life, I think it's important that we have that distinction between who we are becoming or who we want to become and the things we want to achieve. So that's one of the things I really like about his writings on vision. He really gets you to think, and it's almost like a workbook because there are questions he gives you the opportunity to answer, and he just really, really gets you thinking. There's a life grid at the end where he walks you through how to, take different areas of your life, your finances, your spirituality, your friendships, your health, and walks you through how to set goals on these different areas of your life. He calls it the life grid. So yeah, this is a highly, highly recommended book for me to you this year. It will be very beneficial if you can get into these books at the start of the year because the year is still very fresh. We are still in the first month of the year. Set yourself up for success. Take this as tools that you can use to arm yourself and build the kind of life you want moving forward. 1, Take a Seat at Your Table by Anthony O'Neill, and 2, Living by Strategy by Professor Emeritus Stephen Adei. I'm hoping that you can come around to read these books and you find them helpful. I will put the titles and any links that I may find in the description box so you can head there and have access to these books. I'm hoping that they really, really help you and you find a lot of value in these books. Remember that nobody is meant to live your life on your behalf. The earlier you take responsibility and put measures in place to ensure that you're succeeding in life, the better for you. So I wish you the very best, even as the year has already begun. I hope that it goes even beyond your expectations and you have an amazing year, not simply because you're wishing for it, but because you have put in the right systems and structures in place and because you are now living by life policies created by you for you. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode. I'm really grateful. Go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this with someone who will find value in it. Until next week, stay blessed. Bye.